Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
If you're looking to streamline your audio advertising buys and maximize your revenue, look no further than Triton Digital's programmatic audio advertising exchange, A2X. The private exchange consists of only licensed broadcasters and top-tier internet radio publishers, assuring the quality inventory and brand safety you can trust. Visit www.tritondigital.com to learn more.
We're all jazzed up, really having a cow. You want your favorite show, and it's on right now. It's on brand.
Hi, and welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa. I'm the Jon of Jon and Marisa.
And that would make me the Marisa of Jon and Marisa.
Hi, Marisa. Lovely to see you. And welcome to our first holiday episode of On Brand. We're doing a special episode related to 4th of July.
And 4th of July is huge, right? For brand heads like us, brand freaks, brand heads, brand lovers. Maybe not on the level of the Super Bowl, but 4th of July is a big time for brands. You have chips, beer,
I think it might even be bigger than Super Bowl
grills.
because Super Bowl, those things sell, but now, like, right, for 4th of July, you've got Pop Rock Oreos, you've got Little Debbie's coming in, like, looking like American flag brownies. Everyone's doing some sort of patriotic snack for this holiday.
A red, white, and blue Nerds rope.
Yeah, exactly. I know someone that loves Nerds ropes.
Really?
Every time, yes, I do. And she knows, and she listens to this podcast, and she's going to be so. I know she's laughing right now.
Who loves Nerds rope?
Her name's Taryn, and I used to work with her. And she's the only person I know that loves them. And whenever I see them, I think of her and usually take a picture of the Nerds rope and send it to her.
Have you had a Nerds rope?
I have, only because of her, and I gotta tell you, they're delicious. It's like, if you haven't had a Nerds rope, one, Nerds are delicious. You forget how good they are. They're just little pebbles of flavored sugar. But then they put them, for the Nerds rope, they have like this 2-foot long gummy that they roll in Nerds, and it's kind of delicious. Have you had one?
I have had one, not in maybe 15 years, but I remember just being so impressed by the ingenuity. This is what I love about the candy industry, is that the ingenuity is just unlike any other sector.
They are always thinking of a new way to sell pretty much the same thing. I think you can say that about a lot of things. Like, I think of Taco Bell. Taco Bell comes out with some new thing that everyone's crazy about every week, but it's all the same ingredients. They have like 8 things that they work with, and they just reconfigure them in different ways. And I fall for it. I mean, that's basically why we're doing this show, because I live for that kind of stuff.
You know what I hear when I think of 4th of July?
What?
Halfway to Christmas.
What?
The countdown's on, baby.
That's what you're thinking about when you're at a 4th of July party?
Halfway to Christmas.
Well, you know...
Silver bells.
No, I know what Christmas is. You know who I bet already has Christmas stuff out? Michael's.
I wouldn't be surprised if you walked into a Michael's now if there are Halloween items on the shelves.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Michael's takes it to a place that nobody else dares to go, as far as like pushing the envelope when to introduce Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
I have an incredible love-hate relationship with Michael's.
Really?
Yeah. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. And
Okay.
I find...
I don't think that's what that means. I think it means you both love it and hate it.
No. Is that right? Wait.
Yes.
I don't love it.
Uh-huh.
And I don't hate it.
You feel completely neutral. That's not what that means.
I feel nothing when I go in there. But I always go armed with a coupon.
Michael's coupons were not on my radar, and I'm so humiliated of the money I've wasted.
You've never used a 40% off coupon?
Never used a coupon at Michael's.
Because you know they raise the prices 40% because they give you a 40% coupon. That's what I think. I feel like they're a very deceptive place.
Yeah, I don't like when Bed Bath & Beyond, I don't like when they artificially inflate a price, expecting you to come in with a clipping.
And look how that worked out for Bed Bath & Beyond. We won't get into that now, but let's just say we have a very special episode coming up commemorating the goodbye to Bed Bath & Beyond.
I think that's pretty much getting into it. That's all there is to say about that.
I have a love-hate thing with Bed Bath & Beyond now that I'm thinking about it, but we'll save that for that
So
episode.
by your definition, you feel nothing.
I
Completely
feel
neutral.
absolutely nothing, but I always go in with a coupon.
John, what brands are on your radar this week? Who's making you brandy, baby?
Okay, what? Did you just think of that, or did you come in with that? That's been in your pocket
for a little while.
That felt like
but
that.
I had never said it out loud.
I'm glad.
It went great.
Okay, so you asked what brands I'm into right now. What do you think about talking about America as a brand? So
Red, white, blue, stars, stripes.
Yeah,
Uncle
it is.
Sam, the eagle.
Those are all the things that I wrote down. I was like thinking about America as a brand. It's like got taglines, like "In God We Trust," "Made in America." It's got a theme song, the Star Spangled Banner. It's got its mascot, the bald eagle, and Uncle Sam. It gives you promises of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is designed to invoke brand loyalty, which is all over the place and means a million different things to everybody. But America kind of is, and actually I think every country and every state and city is a brand.
Yeah. And in some places in particular, they really I feel like Texas, there's some New York, there's some places that really
Vegas.
push the brand Vegas.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like they've all got their thing that they're known for. It's just something I had never really thought about before as a brand. And for this episode, I thought it was kind of interesting.
How do you feel about eagles?
Are you asking that because you saw my notes a while ago?
No.
I didn't even write it for this episode, but sometimes if I think of things I want to discuss with you, I'll jot a note down in my on-brand notes on my computer.
No, I haven't seen your notes about eagles.
I've never brought it up.
Okay.
I think the very first or second note in that is, why don't eagles smile? Like, why do eagles always look like they're mad?
Well, does any
I know that they
bird-
can't smile because they have a beak, but why do eagles always look mad?
Honestly, that might be because they're kind of representing this kind of machismo. I don't know, really powerful, strong.
I don't know that they're representing that. I don't think the eagles are flying around like, well, I got to represent America.
I'm thinking of representing it in the clip art sense. But are you asking about real eagles, or what eagles are you talking about?
Bald eagles.
They don't smile because they have beaks. You answered it.
No, I know that, but it's not like they're not like me and Michael's neutral. They're like,
they look especially mad.
Yeah.
You think they look madder than a penguin?
yes.
Really?
Yeah. You think penguins look mad?
I'm trying to think of a happy bird.
They look mad. Next time, just everyone look.
Next time I see an eagle.
That's everyone's assignment for this 4th of July. Google bald eagle mad.
Okay, Google bald eagle mad.
Why did you bring up eagles?
You were just talking about eagles.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense. I was actually thinking this week, too, this is going to be too sad.
What?
That I feel like I don't get invited to as many barbecues as I used to.
I think that's getting older. I think just less
Whoa,
people
I
are
thought it was
throwing
COVID.
barbecues. Oh, yikes. Don't you think maybe less people are having big barbecues? People get more tired. They don't want to do as much.
I guess it's a combination of the
You used
two.
to be quite popular. Are you getting less popular?
I think that's the only reason I'm doing this podcast, to
To
try to
get
get
more
my
popular?
popularity back.
You used to be somebody who, 4th of July, for example, it'd be like, John, what are you doing for 4th of July? And you'd be like, I have 8 plans. I'm starting the morning here, mid-morning here, afternoon here. Maybe I'll catch you the last shift. I always get you for the last shift.
Yeah, you get the last shift.
Same with Thanksgiving, which is an honorary spot.
Kind of the best.
Yeah.
First in line. Nah, yeah, probably.
So you're getting less popular. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know.
I got a few guesses.
Let's hear them.
We'll say that for off pod.
Let's scrap the brand today and just really get into our personal lives.
So we've been talking 4th of July, and is there any more iconic 4th of July brand than Oscar Mayer?
No, I mean, Oscar Mayer is synonymous with 4th of July. Not just 4th of July, all of summer. Nothing is better in the summer than a hot wiener. You know what I mean?
I think I know what you
A
mean.
big hot wiener.
With all the fixins.
All the drippings. All right. So you said you had something new that you wanted to try
yes, I
tonight.
have something new I want to try. So, John, we've been having a blast. Let's head to the past. It's time for some history.
That was actually pretty good. That sounded good.
It's canon. So, Oscar Mayer, can you assume that was actually a real man? A real boy?
I assume that is a real man's name.
Born in Germany in 1859, Oscar J. Mayer came to the U.S. at age 14. So he has a German background, sausages, meats. He learned the meat-making trade in Chicago. Him and his brother, when he was in his 20s, they leased out a failing meat plant, and then with a matter of months, made it profitable. So maybe they were catering to the German market in Chicago. They were kind of introducing these processed meats to Americans. The plant owner refused to renew their lease, hoping to continue the success story for himself. So he kind of wanted to piggyback on their existing product and then profit it for themselves. But they borrowed $10,000, opened a different shop, and then proceeded to make a fortune selling their sausages, bacon, and lard. From there on, they went to build an empire.
How long did that? So they started it when?
1859. So he was in his 20s and it was a matter of years when it blew up and became what we know it is today.
Wow. I did not know that it was that old.
Yeah. And this is funny because it's from a time in the early 1900s when meat didn't have a brand. It was just meat.
Right.
And so they were the first people who wanted to put their own market. They were really into marketing early on, even before that was a thing in their field. So they had the idea to name their product, which it would either just be meat or it'd be Oscar Mayer. And so they wanted to distinguish themselves of having this really high standard of quality. So their brand was originally going to be called Edelweiss after the Sound of Music, the flower.
Right.
And then that lasted 13 years and it became Oscar Mayer. Oscar Mayer after the founding boy. I tell you, all these stories about children entrepreneurs is really making a strong case for sending a 5 to 14-year-old out into the world.
Yeah, I'm curious if when we start getting into more modern brands like Spanx, if we're going to find out when she was a young woman.
That she was 5 and she was peddling pantyhose down by the docks.
Just selling rubber bands around her neighborhood.
I mean, isn't that wild? The kids these days, they don't know how good they have it.
Yeah. You wouldn't know this because did you eat bologna?
I did go through a bologna moment, bologna and mustard on white bread, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you remember this, but when I was young, the Oscar Mayer bologna, it came in the same type of packages today. It's like a big stack of bologna. And they had their logo on the top of the package. And my favorite thing, if you got that piece that was at the top of the package, it had dented into it the logo. And I, for some reason, probably because I love brands, thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
So usually if I was the first one at the package of bologna, I would pull out all 15 pieces of it just to sneak that one piece
I would
out.
love to see the little 8-year-old John opening the fridge and being like,
The dented bologna's still there. It's mine. And now they don't do that. They don't have the logo embossed on it anymore. It's just a sticker. So Oscar Mayer, so they make these processed meats. They name it.
it's huge, it's explosive. And this, do you remember Upton Sinclair's The Jungle? Did you read this in
No.
middle school?
No.
So it was a book that was a required reading in middle school or high school, I forget. And it was an expose of how disgusting the meat industry is. And there was a government implemented Federal Meat Inspection Act that was part of the book, and it was happening in real life. And many meat companies, they fought the legislation. They did not want inspectors seeing their factories. They didn't want anybody to know what they were doing. But Oscar Mayer became an early supporter of the bill because their whole thing was that they have nothing to hide. That their standards are so high, it's come on, look in the factory. We're not putting dead rats and stuff in there.
I love that. I feel like we had the similar conversation with Heinz.
It was the same thing. Yeah. So this was a time, as we said, that there was a lot of rats and wood and gross stuff, Band-Aids in your food. And now there's not because of these early adopters of these standards.
And that's probably why
cleanliness.
they had such longevity, is that they did have such high standards.
You're
for
not going to
themselves.
find a toenail.
Though I do feel like you still see news where you find
maybe one
an
toenail.
occasional toenail.
I've never found anything super crazy in food. You see that pop up on the web now and again.
Yeah, I've never found a toe in my Coke.
In your Wendy's chili. Oh, this is a fun thing. So the first spokesman, when they had the Wienermobile, which is this whole thing, but they had a spokesman that was a tiny chef named Little Oscar, and he was. So the company would say he was the world's smallest chef.
Wait, did they hire him just because of his size?
Yes, it was a little person.
Okay.
And so they called him tiny. It was Little Oscar. He was a tiny chef, and he spent his days touring the country. He was, peddling Oscar Mayer food. So lots of little people actors played the part, but the first one was named Meinhardt Rob, and he did that for years, and he went to Hollywood. He got one film role, and it was as one of the head munchkins in The Wizard of Oz.
Wow,
He had
that's
one
really
film
cool.
role. Isn't that really cool?
If you're only going to have one film role as a little person, do you know which munchkin he played?
He was the one who declares the Wicked Witch of the East really most sincerely dead.
I mean, that's a good munchkin.
It's a
to
good
be.
part, right?
Yeah.
I know. It's a shame he didn't get more work, but I mean, can you really compete with the steadiness of the job as the tiny chef? I mean, that's pretty good. Hollywood's pretty brutal.
The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Are you looking for a new job or want a career change? Look no further than Monster.com. Need a little help standing out? Our expert resume writing services will make sure you shine. Want to brush up on your interview skills? Engage with our AI interview prep tool. Want some advice on negotiating your new salary? Visit our salary tools and extensive library of career advice articles, and you'll have all the tips and tricks you'll need to succeed. Visit Monster.com today and take the first step towards your career. Monster.com. Find your right job fit.
So Oscar Mayer is known for the iconic Wienermobile.
Of course.
The first Wienermobile was created in 1936. Does that blow your mind?
It honestly does, because I think of 1936. America is coming out of the Great Depression. People have literally, less than 10 years ago, were jumping out of buildings because they lost their fortune. And then out of nowhere, a hot dog is just driving down the street.
I mean, it's a great idea, right?
It is. I'm just surprised that it happened that early. It seems very 1980s to me.
Well, you might have heard in the news that the Wienermobile is rebranding for the first time.
I did.
And they are changing the name from the Wienermobile to the Frankmobile.
Has Wiener been canceled? Is Wiener a weird name?
They didn't mention that in the press release.
I feel like it's that.
They just said that the overhaul, they want to promote their all-beef Frank products, which they recently switched up the recipe for a more balanced, flavorful taste. Do you think the flavors previously were not balanced or flavorful?
Well, here's what I'll tell you about shopping for hot dogs. Have you ever shopped for hot dogs?
I've shopped for hot dogs.
Meat hot dogs, not
yes,
just
I mean,
veggie
I
hot
shopped
dogs.
for hot dogs last week.
Okay.
My kids can't get enough of the stuff.
So they do have packages that just say wieners. And if you look at that, there's a lot going on. And then
You mean for you personally?
I start sweating. No, I get freaked out because I think it's like how, do you remember how McDonald's used to have shakes? They weren't allowed to say milkshakes because there was no dairy product in them.
Yes.
I felt the same way about wieners. It's like it just became a word that meant they could throw. Sure, they have quality control and stuff, but they could throw anything they wanted.
Like maybe wiener means the shape and not the contents.
Yeah, it was more about the shape. Well, actually, I don't know that. Maybe it was about the contents. Maybe they used all the good stuff for other things and then threw all the wieners into a pit. Like
A pit?
I don't know how hot dogs
A fiery pit?
No, how do you make, I assume in a vat.
We don't know how hot dogs are made. That's what's beautiful about it. We don't want to know.
I mean, I think I kind of do.
I don't think you do.
If someone asked me, I would say you throw a bunch of parts through a thing that grinds them up and they get put in a vat and dyed pink.
But what parts? What parts?
All the parts.
Do you like hot dogs?
I do. But if I am going to buy a hot dog, you look for the ones that say all beef now. So I think that's probably the deal with the Wienermobile.
I'm sure that is what's motivating the move. It just in the spirit of the company being so transparent, wanting to highlight their quality. Yes, it's now the Frankmobile. I don't think that's as fun and cheeky and whimsical as the Wienermobile, which I feel like is so fun and cheeky.
Have you ever been in the Wienermobile?
I haven't.
I haven't either, but I have seen it out in public several times, and it's almost like seeing a celebrity, which I saw one this week. I saw
what celebrity?
Jay Leno. So I'm driving through Burbank.
Oh my God.
And I'm whatever. I don't know why I'm telling you the intersection in case people want to revisit it. And
I'd love to revisit.
Walk through the footsteps of On Brand. But seriously, I was on the corner of Victory, headed to the 5. And I saw coming across the street an old-timey car. And I have a thing when I see old-timey cars, expensive cars, like something that I know that the person really cares about their car, I refuse to look at it because I know that they want me to look at it.
John.
So I'm like, looking the other way. And then I was like, that car, like it was old-timey and really long. But then I was like, I saw that it was driving across the street. It's like, good. I don't want to see this car. But then I snuck a peek and it was Jay Leno and his big flash of white hair. And I was like, that's, kind of cool.
That's an undeniable head.
It is an undeniable head, a big wath of white hair.
You don't want to give them like the satisfaction
don't.
of like attracting your gaze. What if you see some, like...
I thought you meant gays. No,
What
gaze.
if you see somebody like walk, sometimes there's like someone walking down the street with a parrot on their shoulder.
I refuse to acknowledge them. Anyone that's doing anything simply for attention will not get my attention knowingly.
You'll sneak a peek, obviously.
I'll sneak a peek,
after they pass.
Or I'll somehow use my phone to see what's going on. But yeah, I like to avoid it. I don't want to give people that satisfaction.
I mentioned this maybe off pod to you before, but my favorite celebrities to see are reality show celebrities.
Nah, that would be my least favorite. I never know who anyone is. I have my friend Stephanie. She's like you. She likes all Vanderpump and all those things.
Oh yeah, so that's who I saw. I saw Tom Schwartz at Schwartz and Sandy's. It's not relevant to you, but if anybody in the audience knows Vanderpump Rules, Schwartz and Sandy's, Tom Schwartz. I went to Schwartz and Sandy's. I talked to Tom Schwartz for probably 30 minutes.
You talked to him?
Oh, he was desperate to talk to people. It was like he was just making the rounds all night. But I love meeting reality people because you're meeting the actual person from the show. Like if I meet Tom Hanks, I'm not meeting the guy from Castaway who I love. I'm not meeting Forrest Gump.
Right.
I'm meeting Tom Hanks. I don't know Tom Hanks at all, but I know the reality people. Actors are just they're husks. You know what I mean? They're just empty vessels filled by a role.
Married to.
He is a husk at times.
Okay, so you have interacted with him. I was actually trying to remember if you ever interacted with the Supernatural guys, but I think that was just for like
in a fan setting. Yeah, and actually this was I was kind of doing the mean thing that you do. Okay, so my mom is a super fan of the TV show Supernatural.
Super fan
of Supernatural, which this show has like a crazy cult following. So there's like a lot, like there's a fan convention that we went to for I think 4 years straight. I still like stubbornly never watched an episode of the show.
Yeah.
So, and this was kind of like you not wanting to look at Jay Leno. It was like everybody was there as a super fan, and I wanted every drop of my energy to read, I don't care. Honestly.
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Even when I met the guys, you have to wait. You're there for days, all day, panels, autographs, and I don't watch the show. I don't know who anybody is. I'm like listening to panels like, well, if you could be a goblin, what goblin would you be? And I'm like, I don't care. I don't know. I don't care. Get me to my Caesar salad in the hotel restaurant. And even when I was getting autographs from like these two main guys, these two hunks who my mom like has a crush on, I feel like every time I got their autograph, of which I have probably like 8 now, I'd say like, I don't watch the show. I say that to them. I don't watch the show. I've never seen it. I'm just here for my mom. I don't watch the show. I don't care. I don't care about this.
You say that to the main actors?
I say that to the main guys because I want to connect. I want to be like, I'm not like these guys.
I'm a peer.
I'm like a peer.
I'm more of a peer.
I'm like one of you. I don't know your character's name. I don't know which one is which.
That is so. I don't know if one is a witch.
I don't know if
that
one
there's
is a witch.
something supernatural about you guys, but I don't know what your
I don't know
power
what it is.
So you're not going to woo me.
That was
I'm married to a husk, so don't even try to hit on me. I'm not a part of this.
I'm not a part of this.
I spent $800 to be here, but it wasn't
dragged.
my money.
I've been dragged.
I've been dragged here. So you used to go to that Supernatural convention annually.
Yes.
And what I remember about it was quite often it would be the same weekend that I would go to the Days of Our Lives Day of Days annual event at Universal Studios. And for anyone that's listening that's not aware, which I'm assuming is everyone, every year Days of Our Lives offered a free event at Universal Studios from 8 a.m. till 5 in the afternoon where you could come. They gave you a swag bag. It was the exact opposite of your experience.
Oh, yeah.
Because you guys did pay a lot of money to do your experience. Like, people were paying just to get the autographs.
Of course you pay for you pay your package. You're either like copper, silver, or gold, or platinum, or whatever. you pay for pictures, you pay for autographs, you pay for the 8x10 glossies. There's like a whole marketplace set up where people just buy like pop figurines and homemade jewelry about the show. It was like everything that could be sold. Nothing was free. Nothing was free. And you're paying for a hotel. We went twice in Vegas and twice in Burbank. There was a woman who I swear slept outside the door of the venue.
Oh, 100%.
In her electric scooter. Because I saw her, like, I saw her in the morning, like, I'm walking to go get my coffee at 7, like, she's there. I'm going to bed at night, she's there. She's parked. I don't think she sprung for the room. I think she put all of her money into
smart.
photo ops.
It's smart. If you're paying for that, I can't tell you how opposite that is of the Days of Our Lives event. You go, you get a tote bag. Every year you get some fun thing. One year we all got an apron to Brady's Pub. I know you don't know what that is. It's an iconic set. I'm sure you can figure it out. You get a hand sanitizer. You get photos of all the actors. You bounce around. You get everyone's autographs. It's fun. Like you take a lunch and the actors go away, then they all come back, and then they do a panel. It's just a lot of fun.
Do you mingle with the other fans?
Okay, so I did this for many years, and like the first time I went, I was kind of playing that guy, that like, I'm too cool for it. So much so that I was at that event, and I'm by the like parking lot, and I look over, and Deidre Hall, I don't know if you know her, soap opera legend Deidre Hall is standing right next to me, and even then I was like, meh. But then I don't know what happened. Over the years, I started to get more and more invested in like actually, like I would drop in because I only live like 20 minutes from it. I would drop in for a couple hours and bolt. Who cares? It got to the point where I'm there right at 8 o'clock. I go to all the things. I bought a huge Days of Our Lives book. I started having everyone sign it. I had to put Post-its on their signature. Because I had so many signatures, I didn't know what character it was, so I'd put a Post-it with their character. Like, it became a whole thing.
Oh, sorry. Did you ever have the thing where, like, a lesser-known character makes a big signature? Because that's how it was at Supernatural. And I didn't even really care, but it would be, like, it would go in order of, like, the people with the earlier signatures were, like, the smaller parts. And then, like, the big boys are at the very end. And so sometimes you have this guest star who's been in like 2 episodes, and I don't care about any of them, and I'm surely letting them know. But the gall to take up like an entire front cover with the signature of somebody, minor character.
I love that you asked that question because that genuinely became a struggle of mine. If you watch Days of Our Lives or any soap opera, it's been on for 55 years. There's people that have been on it for the entire time, and then there's people that have been on it for a week at this event. So I started to do a thing where if you were an iconic character, if I deemed you an iconic character, you got to sign the front of the book. If I considered you new and you hadn't proved yourself, you got to sign the back of the book. And you go to these panels, and there's 4 people. It's like icon, not icon, icon, not
Yikes.
But they were actually usually very understanding of it. So yeah, I kind of curbed that and figured out the best way to deal with that. I will say going to these things, I would meet so many lovely people, so many weirdos. You are in this world where you all know you have this one thing in common, and that's what kind of makes it fun. But one of my favorite people that I met was one woman that I had seen there repeatedly over the years, but had never talked to. And in one of the things we got in line together, and she always had a dog with her. And she was in it, man. So what she would do, she would take her pictures with the actors. She would go home, have them printed, come back the next year with those pictures, and then have them sign this. This was her cycle over and over again. And she told me her big claim to fame was that she had been interviewed for Soap Opera Digest magazine. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. She's like, yeah, they came around. They wanted to talk to a fan, so they talked to me. She's like, let me show it to you. So she shows me, and there's a picture of her in Soap Opera Digest magazine with her dog. And she's like, do you notice anything unusual about the dog? And I'm like, what do you mean? And I looked down at her dog that she's holding. It only had one eye. And I looked at the magazine and it had 2.
Oh God, they clone stamped the eye.
They photoshopped an eye on her dog, and she was so mad because they didn't show like her dog as it was.
Oh my God, did you take a picture?
No.
Oh, we have to find a copy. eBay.
Why would I take a picture of her dog?
eBay.
No, but bless her heart.
Oh
so
God, well, catch up with her at this year's event. It's in November, right?
It is in November, and I couldn't go last year. It didn't happen for like 3 years because of COVID, and it happened this year, and it happened to be the same weekend I was at something else, and I couldn't go, and I was so mad.
Well, this year you will definitely be there.
Well, there's a couple actors. This sounds terrible. One of them is 99 years old, and
yikes.
I'm a little worried about. I don't have him in the book yet, and I would like to get him in the book. I forget how we got off on that tangent, but we were talking about the Wienermobile.
The Wienermobile. And the Wienermobile, what is more iconic than the Wienermobile might be the song.
Oh my God. I actually know a little bit about the Oscar Mayer song.
Oh, do you know the history of how it started?
I don't.
Okay, so it was 1963, and there was a contest to come up with a jingle.
Okay.
And this guy, this writer, Richard Trentledge, his son said some little line about his friend, his daredevil friend. This is what his friend said, or his son said about his friend and his dirt bike. I wish I could be a dirt bike hot dog. This is what this little kid said. And you're around my children. They say stupid stuff all the time.
Nonsensical.
So he hears that. He heard about the contest the night before the deadline. He quickly wrote it down. He wrote down, I wish I could be a dirt bike hot dog. He wrote that down like that meant something to him. He had his 2 children sing the song while he strummed on a ukulele. And he ended up winning the contest. And it was their voices and his playing of the ukulele that appeared in the original ad.
That is really cool. Though I do feel like when I hear stories like this, I'm cynical that I feel like everything has kind of been changed over time to make it sound like it was really cool.
It would make a hell of a movie.
It would make a really good movie. So that was the very first time that they did that? Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, my story involves the iconic, I'm sure you remember, the boy singing the Oscar Mayer song sitting on a pier.
I remember that one.
I have it.
What year was that? Was that 80s, 90s?
I honestly don't know. I want to say in my head it was probably 80s, but I didn't look into that. So the story behind that, and it's just one boy, he sings the whole song, he's sitting up here, very iconic commercial for them. I guess they had decided to film that commercial. They had brought a bunch of kids in, they had recorded them singing. They could only get the kids to do little chunks of it.
Because they were just running around and being wild.
Being kids, probably all gassed up on hot dogs, eating wieners all day, just double-fisted wieners. Burping and trying to get these kids to sing the song. They finally shot enough that they were like, we can cobble this together and put a commercial together. They still had 30 minutes apparently of sunlight or golden hour or whatever, but the crew was all packing up. The producers we're good. And the director was like, hey, we've still got 30 minutes of sunlight. Do you care if I shoot anything? And they're like, do whatever you want. We're going to pack up. So he went over to the kids and he's like, hey, can anyone sing this song all the way through? And this little kid's like, I can. And he's like, come with me. And he goes and sits this kid on a pier. And the kid sings the song all the way through. And that's what ended up becoming the commercial. So simple, so iconic. And
is it just that one take? This kid just totally nailed it.
And what's so great about it is the way he ends it, which you would never think anything of it unless you know that story. And I'm going to play it here for you now. It's about 30 seconds. I mean, he says, how's that at the end
really
of it?
Cute.
I love that. Once I heard that story and that kid's like, yeah, I nailed it, right?
How's
and
that?
Just played that forever. I love it.
Can I share a deeply buried memory?
Yeah, that's
that I've blocked out of my mind, and I wasn't sure if it really happened or not. And then I corroborated the story with my family, and it is true.
Yeah, of course.
In 1996, they held a national competition for kids to audition for a new Oscar Mayer commercial.
No.
Do you think I took the bait? Do you think I had big Hollywood dreams in my eyes?
You were like, this is it.
So my memory that my sister has confirmed is that I did audition to be the new Oscar Mayer spokesperson. The part that I thought I had blocked out but is being corroborated. So we know the song. My Bologna is a first name. It's O-S-C-A-R. My Bologna is a second name. M-A-Y-E-R. I thought
oh no,
a way to set myself apart would be to perform the spelling of the letters in sign language. So I asked my sister, I said...
Wait, did you know sign language?
I learned it.
Just those letters?
For this? I asked my sister, I said, did this happen? She said it definitely did. She said we were in a parking lot in front of the Wienermobile. You sang the song.
That was the audition.
She said, I remember you did pretty good. I remember a little boy being really good. Like he was kind of like a Disney type kid. And then I'm saying, did I sing it in sign language? She says, yes, that sounds familiar. So I learned OSCAR, MAYER in sign language, BOLOGNA in spelling out the alphabet in sign language. And I remember in my mind thinking, they're probably just going to cut together a bunch of kids. This is me at 10. I'm like, they're not going to just give it to one kid. They're going to cut together a bunch of kids, a bunch of like different looking kids, diverse kids, whatever.
How would that work? Not to cut you off, but they cut to you and you're just doing one letter.
I will represent a deaf child.
The S. No one else is doing it.
Okay, are you ready to have your mind be
You got the
absolutely
part?
blown? I did not get the part.
Oh.
When you watch the commercial, that one, there is a girl doing sign language in it.
No, there's
yes,
not.
There is.
No, there's not.
And I did not know that until I looked it up today.
What?
This is like, I mean, I have chills. I can't believe it. I'll play it for you after we're
We'll
done
post
recording.
it. If this exists.
Oh my God, I'm like boiling. I'm like so humiliated.
Why? You changed the face of the brand. You made them more inclusive, which I'm sure is part of their mission statement. You're a part of it. You're Oscar Mayer canon. Kind of. Not really. You just sign language outside of the Wienermobile. Did they give you, there was an announcement like meet us at the Wienermobile and we're going to have auditions?
Yes, it was like an audition posted. I don't know where. Maybe like my school, my elementary school. Maybe they like reached out to kids there. It was in 1996. They had a competition that kids could sing either the Oscar Mayer Wiener jingle, I Wish I Was an Oscar Mayer Wiener, or the bologna song that spells your bologna's first and last name. And that was obviously the one that I chose.
So did you only learn those letters in sign language? Or did you already have an interest in sign language?
No. It's just in my mind, they're cutting together a bunch of kids.
You're like, right.
So like there's going to be like one kid going like, my bologna has a first name, and I'm going to go OSCAR. My bologna's a second name. Or maybe I'll be MAYER, but I'm going to be playing a deaf child. And this is really a good way for me to stand out.
I'm actually impressed. I think it's very smart.
I can't believe it.
Very forward thinking for a 10-year-old.
I was already editing. I was already like coming up with a campaign because I love marketing, even at a young age.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me share that. I'm like super sweaty. That was really...
I know, you seem really frazzled right now.
Verklempt.
Are you more frustrated now that you know that they like the concept but just not you?
I feel really proud.
Oh, okay. See,
feel
I would
really
feel
proud.
rejected.
No, I think that was really healing for me because I've been so humiliated by this memory. And then for me to be like, they watched my tape and they were like, she's not deaf. And then they were like, but she's onto something. We hadn't considered that.
That's
having a deaf kid do sign.
Oh, it is believed that the person in the commercial is actually
You can
deaf.
assume so, yeah. I mean, if not, then why not me?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why not you?
So, okay, here's another little fun piece of trivia.
Did you know there's more than one Wienermobile? There's 6. Okay.
Okay, here's another fun fact.
Okay. Did you hear how many Wienermobiles there are?
How many?
6. Okay, go.
Are they all deployed at the same time?
Yeah, they all follow each other like a pack of hot dogs. Oh, that'd be good. All right.
Okay, so in 1985, they were doing a lot of focus groups to try to, sell more bologna. And the issue with moms, we can relate to this, a couple of moms. We don't have enough time. Thus, the invention of the Lunchable.
Lunchables, of course.
We have a lot of bad names before Lunchable was the winner. Lunchable is a great name. Lunchable. It's just, it's great.
It's easy to say. It's like a new word, but it's familiar.
I'm going to give you some rejected Lunchable names. These are 100% real. On trays, spelled on trays.
I don't mind that.
You have to read
It's kind
it.
of adult for kids, though.
Yeah. Cracker Witches.
No.
You like that?
Yeah, that's fun. For Halloween, they could cut the meat like little hats.
They could, yeah.
And make it green.
What about the rest of the year?
The cheese could be green. All right, go.
Mini meals.
Nah.
Walk meals.
Walk meals.
Walk meals.
Walk meals. Hey, you're going to the grocery store? Could you grab me 3 walk meals?
Mom, can I have some walk meals? All the other kids get them.
I've been good. Can I have a walk meal?
Go Packs.
Nah.
Fun meals with a Z.
Wait, do you say all of that?
Fun meals with a Z. It's implied. You're reading
It's
it.
in parentheses.
You want to hear my favorite? Smoothie kabobbles.
That can't be one. What does that even
Smoothie?
mean?
Smoothie kabobbles.
What's a smoothie about it?
I don't know. This is a whole marketing team. This is what they landed on. Smoothie kabobbles.
Okay, so I don't have a huge connection to Lunchables.
You never ate Lunchables?
Sure.
Oh, wow.
I mean, on occasion.
Did you ever eat Lunchables as a young man?
It was not, I mean, no.
Not of your era?
No, it's not that. I mean, they came out when, in the 80s?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't something my mom bought. I mean,
They were pricey. It was definitely a special occasion.
It's like we can cut our own bologna and get a handful of crackers.
Yeah, it was kind of like maybe a special treat if if you've been a good girl, you get a smoothie kabooble. My memory of them is that I didn't like the cheese. You know, at lunch when like there's something in your lunch you don't like and you're in elementary school, you'll kind of barter it with other kids.
Yeah.
I remember some kids, they would happily take my stack of like 5 cheese squares, and this one kid would bite into the whole stack.
Do kids still barter food away?
I don't know. Maybe they're not allowed to share. They also had the pizzas, which was
I was just about to
bit
bring
later.
up the pizzas. I never understood the pizzas because it's just like a little uncooked like piece of crust with sauce and uncooked cheese.
If I close my eyes, I can taste this pizza.
Me
It's
too.
like its own thing. I don't know why it was good. I think just anything that was specifically for kids and felt like special and like a novelty, even if it didn't taste super yummy, you would like devour it because it just felt so special and like just for you. And so yeah, it was like a cold little biscuit with like cold sauce and like sprinkled marinara cheese and like 3 little cold pepperonis.
Yeah.
And I remember absolutely loving it.
Well, good for them. So Lunchables got them out of a little dip.
Yeah, and also there was like later in the 2000s, there was kind of like a health food. There was kind of started to be a little paranoia about overly processed food, processed meat, and they dipped. And then now they're actually on the upswing.
I was going to say, I feel like they're kind of back. I feel like during that time, you had the low-fat diet, you had the low-carb diet, you had all the different diets. But now, I don't know if it's because of the pandemic or the price of food that I do feel like processed foods and, cheaper groceries have kind of become a mainstay again.
You know what would be a cute commercial for Oscar Mayer Wiener?
What?
If they put the Wienermobile on like an F1 track and they had like Lewis Hamilton like driving the Wienermobile and then they were like, box, box, box. And then like it drove into like a big lunchbox. I got so many ideas for commercials.
Are you
It's like-
auditioning again? Are you secretly
Might
trying to
be.
audition? Let's go find the Wienermobile and pull out your sign language. Do you remember how to say Oscar Mayer in sign language?
Ologna. Yikes.
That's impressive. Well, that's a lot of interesting things to learn about Oscar Mayer.
Do you have room for one more? In 1924, Oscar Mayer was the first company to roll out packaged bacon.
Oh, cool.
That's all I have. So, John, if I'm going out to a barbecue, which I'm invited to many for 4th of July, because I'm very popular and well-liked,
How many barbecues have you been invited to for 4th of July?
one.
Have you actually even been invited to one?
One, yes.
You really have?
Yes.
I haven't.
Oh,
Wait, really?
yeah.
Oh, I thought you were kidding.
No. Do you want to come?
No, I'm going to be out of town. But what I can send you away with, I could send you armed to the barbecue with fun facts about 4th of July.
I would love that because I'm always waiting by the grill for my wiener to finish roasting and I have nothing to say.
Okay, well then maybe I can help you out with that. What if when you go into the party, you act all annoyed? And
Okay.
you're like, I'm confused why we're having this party today because actually Independence Day should be July 2nd and not July 4th. What if you did that? Because that was the case. It was actually determined, the independence was determined on July 2nd. The Declaration of Independence was signed on the 4th. So there's a whole camp of people. There was a president who refused to even acknowledge that the Independence Day was the 4th of July.
He wanted to change it to the 2nd?
Yes, he wouldn't go to parties that were on the 4th. He wanted it. It was the 2nd. That's when it happened.
You should tell yourself that when you don't get invited to any 4th of July parties that you're just protesting. the day of the 4th, and
That's not
that's
a bad
why
idea.
you're
Yeah.
not attending any barbecues.
It's part of my story.
yes,
that
you're protesting.
I'm
you will not be
following the
attending.
actual brand of America.
I love that.
Okay, so you'll consider doing
I'll
that?
consider it. I'll consider. What else do you got?
Let's see. What else could you throw out there? Oh, I know that you don't love number facts.
Oh, what number are we talking?
What if you go in there and say, hey, how many hot dogs do you think that are consumed in America on Independence Day?
1 million.
No. More.
More?
Would you believe 150 million hot dogs are eaten on this one day?
Wow.
Does
That's fun.
That is a fun fact. You know what's more fun than that? If you take Independence Day to Labor Day, that is what is considered peak hot dog season. How many hot dogs do you think is consumed during the season?
During the entire season?
During peak
150 million on a day.
150 on a very important holiday.
Yes. 500 million?
7 billion hot dogs are eaten from July 4th through Labor
Wow.
Day.
So we've heard of hot girl summer. I'm thinking it's hot dog summer.
I love that. You could throw that in too and probably get a laugh at the party that
Oh, I can't
wasn't
wait. I
invited
can't
to.
wait.
Okay. You could go in there with this and
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, so yeah, everyone signed the Declaration of Independence and America was free. When do you think 4th of July actually became a holiday? The next year, right?
I would assume, yeah, the next year. I mean, that was when they signed it, and then it's kind of like, let's make a holiday.
No, Mar. It took almost 100 years for it to be recognized as a federal
100
holiday.
years.
It wasn't until 1870 that the 4th of July was considered a federal holiday.
Wow, that is really it's a fact because it's true, and it's fun because I would not have expected that.
You know what else you wouldn't expect?
What?
Would you be surprised if I told you that a president actually died on July 4th?
I would be shocked. My jaw is on the floor. Tell me it's not true, John.
It's not. 3 of them have. 3 presidents have died on July 4th. And what's even more freaking crazy than that, people, when you tell them that, are going to be like, this is insane. No, you'll say, no, that's not insane. What's insane is that on July 4th, 1826, John Adams and Thomas Jefferson died. 2 presidents on the same day. Can you imagine if that were to happen now? Like, that seems insane to me.
I mean, foul play, poisoned hot dog. Like,
Well, no, the one of them's like
What are we
94
thinking?
years old. Old age.
I'm dusting off this cold case and diving right in. This is now a true crime podcast to investigate the murder.
The murders of John Adams and Thomas Jefferson.
That is really, that's a scary fact.
Yeah. So there's a few fun 4th of July facts for you to take to your barbecue.
I will. I can't wait. I'll be the belle of the queue.
If anyone listening takes any of these facts and shares them with people, I would love to hear about it. on
Film
social
the
media.
reaction of the person hearing it.
I want to see the shocked jaws of everyone's faces, everyone's family when they throw out these doozies.
John,
Yeah.
is it time for brand news?
Yeah, I do have some brand new news. You know how I love it when 2 brands combine together to make something
your
new and fresh?
Favorite thing.
Let's see. What are some iconic versions of
Right
that?
now, Gap and Barbie.
Gap and Barbie.
Gap and
Netflix
Barbie.
and Lacoste. I think Hilfiger and Disney are together right now. It happens all the time. Would you believe it if I told you that Tic Tac has combined with Sprite to make a new Sprite-flavored Tic Tac?
That is not the collab I was expecting.
What were you hoping? Who would you ideally like to see Tic Tac?
Tic Tac collab. Let's see. Taco Bell.
That would be fun.
I could see them doing like a real novelty. You know, it tastes like
like a little meat.
a Crunch Wrap Supreme.
Oh, I was thinking like a meat bean.
A meat bean?
Like a little meat bean, like a little pack, like a shaky little packet of meat beans.
So you call an Israel Tic Tac a bean? You call Tic Tacs beans? I just remember like meat, so it's a meat bean?
No, I don't normally call them beans, but I feel like if it was a collab
Well, why wouldn't it be a bean
with Taco
bean?
Bell,
It would be a bean bean. Are you a Tic Tac guy? I never hear that rattling around in your pocket. And I hear a lot of things rattling around.
I'm not a big Tic Tac person. They've done a few things that I think are really clever. I don't know if you've ever seen the Tic Tacs that are Minions, and I've never even seen a Minion movie, but it's kind of a perfect collab.
Did you buy it?
I did. It sat on a shelf. And they also did one with Simpsons because they kind of look like little Simpson heads.
Yellow head, yeah.
So I enjoyed
You're a
those.
cinnamon guy. Cinnamon Tic Tacs, they never...
They did. They were too hot for me.
What?
Yeah.
Too spicy?
They were too hot. They came in 3 degrees of heat.
Cinnamon Tic Tacs come in 3 degrees of heat?
It was a packet that had 3 different types of cinnamon, and I didn't like them.
You couldn't handle level 1?
I just didn't like
Level
them.
2?
No, I didn't like it.
Level 3?
Too hot. Level 3, too hot.
Wow, I'll have to check that out.
Well, I hope that you learned a little bit about 4th of July. I know that I enjoyed learning everything that you taught me about Oscar Mayer.
We lived, we laughed, we loved. We learned about hot dogs. We learned about my
Shameful
aspirations.
audition, which I actually think you should be proud of. And we will post that commercial on Instagram because you showed it to me and it looks amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I would die for an original tape. But yeah, I do have the commercial featuring the woman, the young woman, the woman,
The girl.
the 5-year-old doing sign language, my direct competition.
Yeah.
I'm sure she has a rival podcast about brands. Our lives have been just set off on a course of competition since that one day. I will definitely post that online. This has been so much fun talking about Oscar Mayer and 4th of July with you. Get out there, make some dip. And if anybody wants to invite John to a 4th of July party, there's still time.
There's still time. I'll be in Ohio, so if you're in Ohio.
If you live in Ohio and you are having a 4th of July party, invite John. He is available. Underline available.
Available. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. If you like the pod, subscribe, rate, and review. Tell your friends. And next week, we have a really fun, iconic, classic brand. John, tell them what it is.
It's Converse shoes, another legendary brand that we can't wait to tell you all about.
All right, so tune in next week to listen to that. Thank you so much. See ya.
Bye.
on brand.